Welcome to another expert interview. I start the same way. I'm always excited because we get to talk to the most amazing people and have the best conversations. Every single expert interview is packed with golden nuggets and tons of value. And as always, I'll let my guests introduce themselves because they'll do better than I'm going to do. But I can tell you that Christopher's going to bring the energy. That is a true statement. I've never had a meeting with him where I thought I was bored or he wasn't awake. But Christopher, brother, tell us who you are and what you do, and then let's dive in.
First of all, Devin, thank you very much for the invite. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys, for your community, for the people that are live, and for the people that are going to watch it afterwards. As you mentioned, my name is Christopher Dedeyan. I am a professional speaker and a peak performance coach, and I'm blessed to travel the world, speak on Fortune 500 companies to their employees of how to become effective in not only their business life, but their personal life as well. And I have an online academy that I teach top tier entrepreneurs how to speak more eloquently about their service, product, and ideology by getting on more stages to get a positive ROI for their business.
There's so much to unpack there. Let's start with this speaking, because in ACES Connection Group and a lot of the meetings I have, people want to be on more podcasts, they want to be on more stages.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like anyone has a game plan for that. So can you give us a little bit of a game plan for if you're a professional and you want to be on more stages, like where do we start?
So if you permit, I want to first frame that because that is a great question. And the question that I have for you, because I know that you've been to many events. We're actually just talking before we started recording all the speaking events that I have coming up and then all the speaking events that you had coming up. We're comparing cards here. And every single time we go to these events, we see people get on stage. And some people, when they go on stage, Devin, I am sure you have that feeling of, oh my God, this is amazing. And when the person is done, you feel like it was only 5 minutes, but the guy was on stage for an hour and you just got great value. Counterpart, you see some people go on stage and you are like, man, this is like, I am pulling teeth here. It is extremely tough. So the reality, what it comes to here, and what's the analogy I want to create, you could be somebody that has such an amazing technical skill. Let's say your technical skills are 10 on 10. You know what you do. You're great at it. But your communication skills is 6 on 10. Devin, I have a question for you. What do you think people are going to perceive you as a 10 on 10 or a 6 on 10?
They're going to see that 6 on 10 when you step on the stage.
That's what it is. And the counterpart is true too, right? There's some people that have a speaking skill that's 10 on 10, but their technical skills is 6 on 10. You still perceive them as a 10 on 10. You might be in a career and you get that guy that always gets the promotion, like, oh my God, this guy's not smart, or this person's not smart, I'm so much better. It's because they're able to communicate. So the basis of what we talked about, it is so indicative, not only in today's society, but as a human species, Homo sapien, to eloquently be able to deliver your message, regardless in any industry you're in, to succeed. That's why speaking is immensely important. But as alluded to, you have a lot of people in your community that have written books such as I have, and they want to put it more out there. They want to get on more stages. And a lot of times they do get those opportunities, but when they're not ready for it, it's like a double-edged sword because they get on stage. And like Devin, we had just mentioned, it's potentially going to be somebody that's not well-structured, doesn't deliver it in a way that's digestible for the audience, and doesn't do the proper steps to create a, let's call it a funnel or a great positive energy towards you afterwards. So that's what I teach with my academy, Dedeyan Academy, which we teach top tier entrepreneur how to speak more eloquently about their service, product, and ideology. And we call it the Speak to Success methodology.
Let's dive in. Let's go one step further on that methodology. Like, what is step one, or where should people think of it? Because I totally agree. I think people rush to stage.
Yeah.
And don't have a framing, don't have a call to action, don't have the energy alignment. And we saw it at the last event. Jim could talk about it at the event I was just at. And I would say half the speakers were great, dynamic, engaging, good humor. And half the speakers were like, wow, okay, when are we on to the next one?
Yes.
Tell me where to start.
Okay, so I'm going to break it down because I could give so many tricks, methodologies, which we'll probably tap into. But the number one thing, the lowest hanging fruit that I see as a mistake is people don't know what their through line is. The through line is a verbiage in the industry that specifies what is the one message you want to get across. There's one message, that's all. You could be on stage for 3 hours. It's still that one message that you're trying to get across. And once you have many messages, it gets very blurry, first of all, in the way that you explain it, and for the audience to understand what they're trying to get out of that point. So as a speaker, look at what is the one thing I want to get across? Is it teach people how to communicate better, never give up, motivate yourself by doing it yourself? Is it X, Y, and Z? It cannot be many things at the same time. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have the skill set to talk about all of that. But once you go on stage, you have a very short window of time to convey a message that's clear and concise. Now, I'm going to take it one step further, Devin, and I'm going to explain why. When the audience is on stage, and listen, I've been blessed to speak in front of thousands of people all around the world. I've spoken on stages like Pfizer, Sanofi, Raymax, Modera. I've spoken at the Red Bull Racing Factory in the UK where they make the F1 cars. I'm a huge F1 fan. I was like a kid in a candy store. I was speaking with the F cars like around me, the one that Max Verstappen won in. Anyways, that's a side note. But all that being said, I've been on many stages. And I've been on stages that have 30 people, 10 people, whatever the point is. Every single time somebody comes to me afterwards, they never tell me, I love specifically when you said this, that, and the other. And that could be a few minutes after they saw the speech. It could be a year later that they see me or they see on social media. They always come to me and they're like, in a certain way, in a certain vernacular, they explain that what I said made them feel something. Either makes them feel happy, sad, motivated, inspired. So once you understand the methodology of how people respond and get stories and information, then you're able to cultivate your speech according. We want to make them feel the thing that we need to make them feel so that they can do what they need to do. And then throughout the speech, obviously you're showing rapport. And not only that, you're showing that you have the skill sets with the things that you're saying, but it's not going to be something that's going to be very tangibly broken down or remembered by the people, especially if we're on a keynote stage. If it's a workshop, it's different. If it's a webinar, it's a bit different. But now we're talking about more these keynote type of speeches.
Love that. Let's talk about getting in the room. So let's assume they have their one message, they're clear on it, they've been through the training, they're going to get on stage and crush it. How the heck do they get on the stages? What advice do you have for people on finding the rooms or finding the right stage?
Okay, that's another great question here. And here's why. People don't understand what they say on stage, the message that they're going to deliver, which is, let's say, once again, the through line, is not at all the message that's going to get you on stage. So you have to change your methodology of communicating because there's somebody standing at guard of the door to getting on that stage. That person is the event planner. That person is the HR director, whatever the case is. So first thing is you have to understand that type of person. Who are they? What type are they? Are they left brain or right brain? Left brain being more logical, right brain being more emotional. What is their desires? Usually those people are just stressed on making the event successful, getting the speakers there. Are the speakers going to respect their time? Are the speakers going to be professional? So the main thing is when you do these outreach, when you find the right people, you have to make it so easy and digestible for these people that it's almost a no-brainer to accept you to get on stage. Because it is an honor and you have to always respect that. The second you get on stage, there's X amount of people that are giving their hard-earned time, their hard-earned dollars to see you on stage. So you do not disrespect that by giving a bad performance and beyond. So if you approach it like that to the person that's going to say yes or no, that's going to position you so much better. So first and foremost, change the framework. You're not selling to them what you're going to say on stage. You're trying to show them your professionalism and your expertise. Next thing, as a speaker, 100%, you have to leverage yourself as the leader in the industry. Now, how do you go about doing that? If you want to speak and you want to develop that, but you have nothing on social media that shows that prowess, what are we really doing here? You want to speak? All right, cool. No barrier to entry to take your phone and do a video, 30 seconds to talk about a clip that you know. Because then they are going to find that. So the more you're there, it's social media for speakers like us. It's really a methodology for people to see your whole catalog. That's how I get most of my gigs, to be quite honest. And I'm blessed that I travel the world with my videographer and editors. They record everything. So they don't even need to know what I do. They just see it. They watch it. So those are two low-hanging fruits that I would explain. First and foremost, you have to understand the methodologies. Who's the person that's accepting you to go on stage? Second one would be you have to create content so people can watch it and see, is this thing making sense? Is it something I like? Is the way he's explaining it digestible to me? And the third last thing I would say over here, you have to be present at these events. So before becoming a speaker, you have to be a consumer of these events. You have to go shake those hands. You have to go pay to be at those events. See what they are so then they see your face. So then once you meet up with them, hey, next year I want to be on your stage. You've already invested in them because these people want to get butts in the seat and that's tough. So if you're showing up there and supporting them, it's going to take it one step closer to building that rapport for next year and the other events.
Man, there's a lot to unpack there too. Let's talk about talking to the right person, because I really like that approach. And that's how I land a lot of stages, right? It's like, what is their motive? What are they trying to accomplish? How do we align that messaging or sales pitch, right? Because you're selling yourself to them to impact their room and their attendees. How do you start that conversation? Do you just reach out? Are you getting referred in? I know your kind of last thing was a great recommendation, right? Be in the room so you know who's who and the lay of the land. For someone that's, man, I want to get on that room or at that event, what's your recommendation? Is it a cold email? Is it buy the ticket for the first year and follow up for the next year? Talk to me about how you start that conversation.
Okay. So right now, let me just tell you like where I'm at within my career and kind of give you the backwards towards it. I'm blessed that a lot of my personal stuff coming inbound, but that's because I've been in this industry for almost a decade at this point, that we've been grinding at this and we've been putting in the work. So it's more inbound because I video record, put out a lot of content. My name's out there. Now, granted, I used to do a lot more outreaches in the beginning. Now my outreaches is for my academy and other stuff, but this is the way I would approach it. Specifically, first and foremost, before doing the outreach, find the right stage for you. Not every stage is right for you, okay? There is a certain community that is going to resonate with what you say. If, let's say, you're someone that is the spiritual type of speaker, which there's nothing wrong with it, I truly believe in it, great. If you go to an audience that's not conducive for that type of conversation, you're going to go on stage and if you give the best performance, it's just not going to connect. Towards if that same speaker, this fictitious speaker that we just created, goes into an event that is very correlated to what that reality is and what that belief is, you're going to have a so much better experience. So first, spot your people. Now, the best way to do that is clarify what I call your ICAs, your ideal client avatar. Where are they? So once you understand what type of clients you work best with, you want to work with, then you will look at where do they go. So now once you know these are the types of events, once you go look at the person that's putting on the event or the HR director, you're already resonating with them. That's one. Second thing, go to the events, like I said, it's all relationships. This is not a transaction. If you look at it as a transaction, you're never going to succeed. Now, if you want to do it one time, maybe, but if you want to do it as a career, it's a long-term game. It's a long play. There's speeches that I'm going on now, on stages I'm going on now, that I started the relationship 3 years ago. There was ups and downs, everything in between. And to be quite honest, 3 years ago when I connected with them, I wasn't the speaker that I am today. They saw that I wasn't ready, even though I thought I was, but the reality is no, I wasn't. And they were right. But you have to be humble to present yourself and always learn and be present. And then at that point, like, hey, you know what? Hey, can you come speak on the stage? Can we give you this? Then that rapport is there. It really isn't, there's no magic trick. You could do the DMs, you could do the outreaches and all that. But one massive value, we are in a people-person business. Show your person. You have to be physically there. I love the online word. It's beautiful, but you have to be in person, especially as a speaker. So showing up to those events, investing for the flights, investing for the hotels, taking a weekend away from your family is so much more valuable in their eyes than you DMing them in X, Y, and Z. So that's the couple of steps that I would do.
Let's talk content creation. That was the other thing you brought up. So what are your recommendations there? Is it talking head videos? Is it getting free presentations? Is it doing workshops and recording? You mentioned having a videographer come to the room. Like, what are some recommendations for creating content specifically with the idea of I want to land more stages?
People are not going to like that I'm going to say it like this, but the reality is omnipresence. Everything you mentioned is the answer. It's not one. It's not a this or that question. It's a this and that question. Now, I think the operative way to approach it is which one is the lowest hanging fruit that demands the less friction for me to do. Because granted, if you're starting in the beginning, when I started, I didn't have a team that I could pay literally to fly around the world with me. That's on my own dime. Pay their hotel, pay their food to record an event that I'm speaking at. That's coming out of my pocket. Now I'm there. But in the beginning was exactly like you said, what can I do? So that's just taking up your phone and recording a video. Everyone here has a phone. You're probably watching this on your phone. So start with that. Record it. And I guarantee you in the beginning, it's not going to be smooth. It's going to be crooked. But here's one thing that's valid that people do not understand right now. Okay. I present myself as a professional speaker. I think I'm a pretty dang good speaker. I speak 3.5 languages, learning Spanish. We're developing that. Now, why I'm saying this, not to impress upon here or to really show that prowess, but to show you guys what is the possibility. I'm really good at speaking. And nowadays, when I do my recordings, me and my team have analyzed, I purposely do mistakes in my videos. I stutter on purpose, and I'm teaching people how not to do that. Devin, why do you think I do that? Let me kind of dive into that. Why do you think right now in 2025 with the world of AI, why do you think I'm doing that?
People want to make sure it's you and that it's authentic, right? And they want real. And that's one of our guidelines, right? Real people. And so, yeah, that have to.
And this is in the last 6 months, this shift. 12 months ago, I would have told you something different. So why I'm saying this, for my advice prior that I was saying, grab your phone and maybe it's the first time you're doing it and it's going to not be perfect. It's actually going to be advantageous for you to start now, not making it perfect. I'm somebody that I can do a lot of perfect things. And now I go on the other side. So people, when they see the video, they're not doubting, hey, is this AI? Is this fake? Is this X, Y, and Z? They're showing the human aspect of it. So I'm just trying to diminish that pressure that you might have to start off by doing the recording. So if you have no one, start recording any content that you have. Next thing, once you're going, let's say, like I said, on a stage, you don't need to pay a videographer. And there are some that you could get really affordable, like somebody that's getting right out of school. Ask them for a couple $100 just to come and put your video while you're recording. Now, there's many value for that. First and foremost, you're getting content, but more as a speaker. If you are not looking at this like a career, you're going to fail at it. Now, why I'm saying that is just like a professional athlete, a artist, every time they go on stage after their games, what do? They analyze their performance. I watch every single one of my videos a minimum of 4 times, and I watch it 4 different ways. I analyze every single step. So if I was at an event and I just got somebody to record it, or I just took my own phone, put it on a tripod and recorded it, it's not the best quality, but I have it, I can analyze every single step. And then from there, I could break it apart. So now we're not creating content, we're developing what we already have. We're just documenting what we're doing in our lives. So those are the lowest hanging fruits that I would say. And then from there, you can go into more strategies in regard to understanding the 4 main buckets of your social media presence. Are you somebody that wants to motivate more? You want to educate more? You want it to be entertaining? You want to sell more? And what's the percentage accordingly? Then you create content. From that, you create sub-series and you go a bit more in the nitty-gritty aspect of understanding content creation.
Let's talk about analyzing the recording. That's interesting to me, and it fits another question I'm going to ask. But so you have your recording. You talked about looking at it 4 ways. Talk to us about that. Like, what are we looking at? What are you looking for?
So when it comes to learning, there's many different forms of learning. And the reason why I'm somebody that spends a bit of time with that, I'm neurodiverse, okay? Most people are neurotypical. What does that mean? I have learning disability. I was diagnosed at 8 years old with dyslexia, which is a disability that has to do with reading and writing. And there's levels to it, obviously. If we put it on a scale of 0 to 10, I'm a 30 on 10 dyslexic. Like, I'm up there, okay? God has blessed me with that. But there's a lot of advantages that comes with that. Like I said, because my neurodiversity creates certain things that I see differently. Why I'm saying that is because at a very young age, I had to learn how I learn best. And there's a couple of main ways. Are you visual? Are you auditory? Or are you kinesthetic? So just in those 3 formats, when I watch my videos, I break it down in those formats. So let's say you have a clip of you for 5 minutes, 1 hour, whatever the case is. First thing I do is I play the video and I completely take it out of the screen. I just listen to it. So now I'm listening just to the audio, my performance. I'm listening to my inflections, my pauses, my intonation, the peaks, the highs, the lows. I'm being aware. Am I somebody that has a higher range, a lower range? Am I going too fast and beyond? Audio. I take down all the notes. Then I watch it again. Now it's just a visual. I watched the video, but I mute it. Now I'm just looking at my nuances, my hand gestures, my pauses. Am I walking? Am I pausing? Why is my shoulder like this? How's my head going? I analyze everything. I write down what went well, what I think I need to improve upon. The third one we do over here. So we did the audio, we did the visual aspect, and then we go into the transcription. So I take out everything that I said in writing format. So I put it in a system. It gives me in text every single thing I said. Now I look at the words. What are certain words that I'm using that are filler words? What are certain words that I think are not inducive for my clientele or the community I'm speaking to? Is this a wrong word at the wrong place? I'm looking at the specific words in itself. And then it spots out maybe your vernacular has to grow because there isn't enough words for what you're trying to teach. And then finally, the fourth one, now I watch it with the whole experience. I press play and I watch it. Now, what that conveys, we are becoming, instead of macro, micro in every single step. Because if you watch all 4, there's so many nuances you're going to miss because you're listening to it, it's moving at the same time, you're not noticing this. But once you break each one in 4 different elements, then once you watch the whole, you're better to understand it. And then once you develop this, listen, and people, if they're going to do this, I'm going to ruin speaking for you guys. You guys are going to go to speaking events, and if you do this right, you are going to either love the speakers or hate them. There's nothing in between. It's like saying, you and me, Devin, watching a movie is one thing and we enjoy it. I love movies. But if Martin Scorsese watches a movie, he's not watching it the same way as us. He's watching it and be like, why do you use this frame? Why do you this lighting? Oh, I love when he did this. He's analyzing things naturally. And if you become a high-end speaker by doing this on yourself, you're going to notice things on stage, the small nuances. And when people are amazing, you're going to be in awe because you respect the game. And when people are bad, you're like, you can't even watch it. It makes you feel like you can't even sit down. You're like gagging in your seat kind of thing. So that's the way I would explain it.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Talk to me about becoming more engaging. This is one of I'll ask you without being specific. We've all seen the speaker, and there was unfortunately one, but brilliant content, like phenomenal content. Matter of fact, stuff that I will probably replicate. Like content-wise, I was like, God, the wording is so good, but the presentation and delivery was so flat.
Yeah.
How is that something you can learn, or are there just people who are not going to be good speakers?
Okay. A couple of questions with that. So first, the question was, can you learn speaking or are you born with it? Just anything, speaking is a skill. Can it be learned? Yes. Can it be perfected? Yes. Can it be developed to be even better? Yes. Are some people more inducive with a better speaking methodology from a young age? Yes. But I would even define that the reason why they're great speakers is because something happened in their life at a very young age that they developed a skill set. That's really what it comes down to. I was naturally a good communicator. The reason why is because I had no choice. The education system that was given to us wasn't inducive for my learning methodology. If I just had to go with the exams that the teachers gave us and I didn't interact in the class, the teachers would have thought I'm stupid because, like I said, I'm dyslexic. I have a hard time reading and writing the answers. So I knew at a young age, subconsciously, I had to show to my teachers that I'm eloquent. So every single time that a question, I was interacting, I was engaging. So then they create rapport with me. So that gets developed at a young age. But it doesn't mean it's not something you can get developed if you're not good at all. And I have a lot of clients in my academy that comes with me and exactly have that same thing. They're like, oh my God, I'm not too good. I don't know how to develop it. I honestly prefer working with clients like that because they're coming with a clean slate. Instead of somebody coming and like, oh yeah, I'm such a great speaker. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, there's levels to it. Everyone and their aunt right now thinks they're speakers. They're all public speakers because they spoke in front of 2 people. I'm a public speaker. You're putting down on LinkedIn. Great. Okay. But being a professional at something is completely different than doing it for X, Y, and Z reasons. So that's the way I would define it. 100% it could get developed. And the best experiences I've had, honestly, is somebody that comes in thinking they're not good. And everyone has the tool set to communicate. Now we just need to unlock it. And you don't need to be an extrovert. You don't need to be an ambivert or an introvert. You just need to be yourself. And we're just going to accentuate the parts of who you are.
Man, I've wanted to go so many places because I love speaking. It just like you, like I love analyzing it and I love watching people. Gary put a comment, and I think let's go there because we have been focused on like the best practices, the things to do, the things that make you better. What are some like instant red flags or some instant don'ts when it comes to getting on stage?
Hi guys, my name's Chris. Is everyone okay? Hope you guys are having a great day. Hey, thank you to the person that got me on stage, to your mother and to your aunt. Are you guys ready? We're going to start off. Come on, bro. Stop that. Here's the thing. Prime real estate in speaking. Prime real estate. Please, if you could just get this from what we're talking about here on the podcast, please open up your ears and take down your notes. The first syllable that gets uttered out of your mouth is prime real estate. Do not waste it on presenting yourself, saying thank you, X, Y, and Z. This is something we call, and I teach in my academy, a power opener. You have to utilize that moment because that's the moment that the people that are the most engaged. They're on the edge of their seat. They've had one speaker after another and they're like, who's this next person? What's their type of voice? They have this relationship. So the biggest red flag, they go and start thanking people. And I'm specifically talking about a keynote structure here. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to thank the people, you're not going to present yourself. What you want to do is start with a power opener. And then from the power opener, talk about a few seconds what you're going to develop during the keynote. And then you go into, By the way, my name is Christopher Dedeyan. I just want to say thank you guys for showing up on a Saturday here. Thank you very much for the people that put on this event together. Boom. And then you continue into the subject. But you gave them a hook. It's the same concept as social media. So that's one big red flag that I noticed in itself that it just irks me. But yeah, it is what it is.
What about standing still versus moving?
Great
Is
question.
there a best practice? Does it depend on the person? Talk to me about that.
There is a best practice, but it also depends on the person. Okay, you guys are already seeing it. I'm an animated character. I have high levels of energy. Like I said, yeah, Devin Sizemore, yeah, you are. I'm just trying to stay in my frame over here. If I had a bigger stage, I would be moving. But everything I do is very meticulous. My pauses, my hand gesture, my movements, for me personally. And I'm somebody that's animated, so I use it meticulously. Now, if I would come and you know who I am as a person, I'm staying still like this and I'm speaking, it's naturally going to feel not authentic. But then I have clients that I know that are more still. I'm like, okay, for you, just getting out and standing still and moving your hands is a big step forward. And it's more authentic to them because you know that person or you've seen that person, they're more lower energy. That's perfectly okay for them. So we need to find out where you are and just get one step above to where you're at to make that really explode. So there isn't one that's better than the other. It's really who you are. Now, is there a way to make it more engaging? Yes. And there's best practices from that. Move only when it is for a specific point. If you're just walking, because everybody's, oh, you have to move on stage, and then you see so many speakers. Another red flag here, Gary, to your kind of question, I'll give you a part two. People are just going back and forth on stage while talking. That doesn't convey anything other than people are going to be nervous because you're watching that person just go back and forth, and naturally your heart rate goes up. You're sitting down and you're getting nervous. So this person you're associating with nerves, you'll never work with them. But if you stand still and you only move if you want to do a point, then you bring it back. You say another point and you move. It's going to be so much more engaging because when we're speaking, we have the tool of speaking, but we also have our hand gestures, our movements to highlight certain points.
What's one of the best presentations you've ever seen? What's set the bar for us? Is there someone you've watched on a stage? Is there a video you've seen? Is there something someone could go reference and be like, damn, that's good. Go watch that.
There's a Toastmasters winner. If I'm not mistaken, it was in 2015. And I won't even be able to tell you his name. It's an unknown person. It's a 5-minute clip. This is why I'm choosing this one, because I could give you like an hour-long keynote and all that. The way he talks about the story, the opening hook, which is the power opener, and then how he conveys everything that he's trying to teach in a way that's digestible through storytelling is majestic. I'll send you the link, obviously, if you want to put it within your community over here. But I would say that is a great masterclass in regards to the methodology of storytelling. Now, what I mean the methodology of storytelling, I had a dog and he was a boxer, like a big boy boxer. I don't know if anybody knows boxers, the types of dogs. The best way I could define a boxer is literally, it's like a clown is living with you that is protective, and at nights he does open mic comedy. That's that type of like dog. They're hyperactive, they're family oriented, and they're goofballs, okay? And my dog, my boxer, name was Leo. He was 90 pounds of pure muscle, which is a big boxer. And one day he got sick, so I took him to the vet, obviously, and then the vet did a couple of things, and I'm like, all right, cool, you need to give him this pill 3 times a day. And she shows me how to do it. Takes the pill, puts it in the bottom of his throat, and he's like, you close the mouth and you rub his throat up and down so that gag motion could happen in a dog and he's going to swallow the pill. Shows me, does it. I'm like, all right, beautiful. I get home. 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, it's the time to give the pill. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. Hey, Leo, sit, okay? Put the pill in its mouth, close it, rub, he gags it out. Okay, do it again, gags it out. 3rd time, gags it out. Now at this point, the pill is all like mush in my hand. I'm like, what the heck? The vet did it so easily. What's happening here? And then I'm like, all right, cool. Let me think about it differently. I'm like, Leo loves cheese. I'm just thinking about this. I open the fridge. Instantly when I open the fridge, his ears go different. He's like, yo, what's happening? He knows what's up. I get a piece of cheese, cut a nice little piece, take the new pill, put it inside the pill. Now I have his attention. He is slobbering, like these boxers slobber a lot. He's looking at me. Now I'm like, all right, Leo, sit, give me your paw. And then I throw it up and he jumps up and swallows it. Now, what did I do there? I gave you guys a story. Now, why did I give you guys a story? Because I want to teach you a lesson. When you're teaching something as a speaker, the lesson is the pill. If you just give the lesson, it's going to be undigestible and it's going to be boring. If you wrap it with a beautiful cheese, which is our stories, it's going to be digestible. Without even knowing it, they're going to remember it and they're going to get the pill, which is the lesson that you want. So now I could have told you this before I gave you the story. I gave you the story to show that the quality of storytelling. Now, why I'm saying that? This particular video that I was talking about does exactly that. He talks about story and he explains this story, and not even knowing it subconsciously, you're getting the lesson from it. That for me is the best way to communicate. And not only for me, I've studied this. I love neuroscience. I go back in it. In the evolutionary structure of our Homo sapien, the first way we communicate wasn't through PowerPoints, wasn't through videos, wasn't through writing, wasn't through reading. It was through communicating. And that's how we stayed alive as a human species. So our storytelling is the best way that our brains associate information.
Let's talk books and stages. Obviously, this video will be shared with $1 Million Authors Group. So we're going to have a lot of authors that are looking at this or soon to be authors. How does a book help you on stage? What does it do? How does it elevate what you're able to do? What benefits do you see in having a book, especially if you're going to be a speaker?
In our world, this personal development world, there's something we call the trifecta, okay? You're a speaker, you're a coach, and you're an author. Once you have those three, you have massive authority if it's played right. It doesn't automatically mean that all three is going to make you an authority. Once again, you could go on stage, but then you can drop the ball and it's a double-edged sword. Just like getting on stage could get to immense amount of clients, immense amount of authority. You could write a book, but if it's not well written and not well explained, it's not going to work out. And you could be somebody that's positioning yourself as a coach, but if you're not getting the transformation to your client, you're not going to get testimonials. Nobody's going to come towards you. So first and foremost, it's that three trifecta that you need. Now, once you have it, it gives you that authority and you're able to leverage it. So let's say somebody that is going to go backwards. I wrote a book. The one that I wrote is Play for Profit, the correlation between sports and business. I co-authored it with my colleague, Mathieu Dubreuc. He is a top 10 CrossFit coach worldwide. He goes to the CrossFit Games and judges people like Matt Frazier. And the whole ideology here for me in this particular book is teaching people how sports and business are so interlinked. Working out and business are so interlinked. And you could use the working out world as a sandbox to test certain theories and then implement it in your business. Because I'd rather test out things in a more controlled environment than to take bigger risks in my business where I could lose money, employees, and all that. Now, what I'm saying here, once you have these three things, then you could take this book that you've written and create legit keynotes about it. This is your teaching methodology. This is like a business card for it nowadays. You don't give you an actual business card. This is a business card. Now, the business card inside has to have some value, but I'm going to be very honest with you. A lot of people as well buy the book. They don't even read it. So if you have that methodology that the book is there, and then you're able to explain it eloquently on stage, you're going to win. So once you have the book, then we're going to teach you how to present it in a way, and it's not going to be the whole book. It's snippets of it. You could do so much more. And this one book that you have could make you do keynotes, workshops, get coaching clients, and whatever you desire, if it is well positioned and well put in a way that you're also doing a proper call to action with your stage presence or anything on that end. So that's the way I would unpack that approach.
Let's talk about your book. So you featured it and you've teased it a couple of times, and we've spent a lot of time on speaking, which I definitely want to dig into. I know it's such a valuable topic, but you do more. So let's go one step deeper in the book. What are some key lessons and things you're teaching?
So here's the thing. Like I said, I'm a professional speaker and a peak performance coach. And I'm a speaking coach with my academy right now. Nowhere I say I'm an athlete or anything like that. Now, granted, when people see me, they know I'm an athletic dude. Like I work out. I walk around in 10% body fat. I'm a small dude, but I'm strong. The reason why I started with the working out, because I truly believe, this is my first book, there's going to be many more in the future. I truly believe everything starts here. Why that is? Uncle T tells us this all the time. I'm referencing Tony Robbins here. 80% of success is psychology and 20% is mechanics. And the best way I could explain it, Devin, I'm going to ask you, can you teach me in 2 steps how to lose weight? If I would have to explain to my 7-year-old niece how to lose weight, what would you explain it in 2 ways?
Eat healthier, move more.
As simple as that. Calories in, calories out, move more. But then why is it in North America we're having a literal epidemic of the highest number of obesity we've ever had? And if you ask any of those people, they would be able to say exactly what Devin, you told me right now in regards to how to lose weight. Because if I give you the mechanics, which is a strategy, but you don't have the psychology behind it, you're never going to succeed. So the best way that I've noticed to activate that psychology is with your physiology, which is just a fancier way of saying your body. So everything starts with the body, your spirituality, everything, your body. So if you take care of that, then the business is going to succeed. Then you're going to succeed as a mother, father, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you are. So this is why I was so adamant for me to start my first one with the foundation that I believe as a human being you have to control, which is your body. And it sucks. And one last rant I'm going to go on this. Our body is the most valuable thing in life. But unfortunately, we don't value it because we can't put a dollar figure in front of it because it was given to us for free. We could value a Lamborghini, we could value a nice Rolex, we could value a mansion, whatever the case is. But our body, we can't value it. But it's the most amazing machine that we have. So you have to learn how your machine works, what's the guide to the machine, and then everything else is going to succeed. So that's why I was very adamant to do that. And within the book in itself, we actually break down points. I'm a coach. So after every single chapter, we give a physical challenge and a mindset challenge to really help the people to do it. Because to know and not to do is really not to know. To learn and not to do is really not to learn. So I want to give tangible lessons at the end for them to be accountable to right at the end and go with every single lesson that we're teaching upon within the book in itself towards competition is good, overcoming the wall, the mindset of what society tells us, and everything in between. Yeah, and we have nice little drawings as well, which explains every single chapter on that end.
That's awesome. Gary and Jim, start thinking about any additional questions you have. I'll ask a couple more, but just know that we're going to get to that point here in a second. So if you guys have pressing questions, drop it in the chat or you can unmute here in a second. Christopher, the question I always like to ask is, what haven't we talked about that you feel people need to hear? There's always something that you're like, if anyone hears anything, this is it. So give me the this is it message.
I'm a God-fearing individual. Regardless of what your faith is, regardless if you're a believer or not, regardless what your religion is. I truly do believe if you do not have faith in life, you're going to struggle and you don't even know that you're struggling. So I just invite people to develop that faith, because the more you have that faith in, let's call it a greater power, the more it's going to help you go forward in so many great regards. And we're talking about books here. And Devin, sometimes I get asked, actually quite often, I'm sure you guys get as well, what's your favorite book? That's my favorite and least favorite question, because the reality is I can't pick one. I'm a reader. I would tell you a bunch of books and that's how you get the knowledge. But if I would have to break it down to one, and even this is a cheat code, I would say the Bible. And once again, I'm not talking about religious here. And I'm saying it's cheat code because the Bible is actually many books put together that becomes one book. But if you just go read the book of Proverbs, which was Solomon, King Solomon that explained it. He explains everything that we talk about in personal development. Everything you teach, Devin, everything I teach, everything that all the people in this world, the Gary V's of this world, the Tony Robbins of the world, everything starts there. So I would just say, develop your faith. It's going to help you out so much more, because in the world of entrepreneurships, there's ups and downs. And if you do not have that North Star, you're going to get lost. Even when you succeed, you have to have that North Star, because temptation gets there. The money, the car, the people. So you have to have solid foundation. So I'll just invite people to develop their faith in whatever regards that suits them.
Jim, any questions noodling over there? Anything you'd like to get out?
Yeah, I really don't have specific questions. I just want to give some transparency for even why I wanted to be on here live, because I know the caliber of people that Devin connects with. And for me, I consider myself like a connoisseur of mastery, and I like to get that live experience. And then I'm more of a crock-pot thinker about things. And I really appreciate your structure, your frameworks, those sorts of things. It's been a top-notch experience.
I appreciate that, Jim. Thank you very much for being here.
Gary, I know you always have noodling in there. Anything else you want to ask?
I did put that one in there about the tempo and pauses. And are there times when less is more when you're speaking, or it's valuable real estate and can't be wasted?
Okay, great question. Is taking pauses, is there a time for less than more? Yes and no. I rather somebody right off the bat thinks about taking more pauses than less, because naturally when people go on stage, they start speaking at a higher cadence and there isn't that flow. It becomes all mushed in together. Now, once you understand that, when you take a pause, it's exactly the same concept as taking a highlighter and highlighting a word or a sentence within the book. When you give that pause, it allows the audience to be aware, like something's coming up here that's important. And you could even verbalize it like that. So I would say use it more. Now, counterpart, once you become a higher level speaker, there's moments that you want to do less pauses, increase the pace, and feel it a bit more chaotic. Why that is because everything we talk about on stage is transfer of emotion. I'm transferring my emotion to them. And if I could connect their hearts to mine and be in the same frequency, I've got that control. So if I'm talking about a story that's high energy, stressful, I have to speak faster and take less pauses. So within that framework, if I would take pauses, I'm counteracting what emotion I want the people to feel. Now, once I'm able to understand this, it's like a roller coaster ride. When you go up the roller coaster in the beginning, it goes tick, tick, and then there's a drop, they're like, oh, and then you go down, and then we go up, left, right. That's what you want to convey. So if you understand that's what you're conveying, there's certain moments you don't take a lot of pauses, but you're conveying something very eloquently, and then you could do the drops. But let me specify here, this is for a higher level speaker. So if I would speak to everyone, I would say right off the bat, blank statement, take more pauses than less, because usually it's the opposite that happens. And then once you become higher level, this is things that I explain in my academy. We could unpack it so much more. There's ways to understand it and make them feel that up and down, pauses, and everything in between.
Yeah.
Questions. So let's get that and then we'll wrap.
Okay, great. I notice, Christopher, that quite often just in your conversation with Devin, you're using questions, and I would suspect that's not accidental. Like, what are your thoughts of helping people to form great questions as part of their talk?
Okay, good spot. So here's the thing I'm going to say. A fisherman sees another fisherman from afar. So I'm going to give you hats off to that. If you're not a fisherman, you don't care if there's another fisherman. If you're a fisherman, you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's somebody else fishing here, potentially taking my fish. Now, why I'm saying that? Because you spot it, you got it. So congratulations on you on spotting it. Everything I do is very meticulous, is very chosen. The way I'm dressed, my office space, everything. So now the question is, why am I asking questions? Because the reality, the more I ask questions, the more people are going to be selling themselves on the ideology that I'm trying to present. Furthermore, my goal as a speaker is to bring them in my universe, just to frame it, but not to stay in my universe. I want you to be in your world. So when I talk about my story, I'm actually creating ways for you to associate the same type of feeling in your own story. So if I'm talking about, oh my God, there was a time I had this transaction and I failed and I was X amount of dollars in debt, everyone has felt that fear of losing money or whatever. So I have to create the story enough for you to understand what's happening, but I have to not give too much details for you to present yourself as the main protagonist within your story at the same time. Now, once that's happening, Jim, we're connected. And then you associate that emotion that I created with me, good, bad, anywhere in between. So it's not even a question of what I'm teaching. It's about how we're connected. So the reason why I get people to ask questions, I want them to be in their head. I'm just framing the question for it to be in line to what I'm talking about. And if we talk about success, we talk about this, you're going to see me as success because I'm making you feel that. It's so much easier to connect with somebody emotionally than just methodologically with stats, numbers, and all that.
Love it. Give us a rundown, man. How do people watching this replay, how do they connect with you? Where should they go other than grabbing a copy of the book? Well, how else should they engage with you?
The best way is I'm blessed to have a beautiful team around me, and we put out literally 1 to 2 original content per day on all social platforms. The ones that I utilize the most, Instagram, LinkedIn, those are the ones that I'm most active, but I'm on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. If you guys want to see me speak on stage, the vlogs, how it goes, like all of that is on my YouTube stuff, TikTok. So that's how you could connect with me. Go check out Dedeyan Academy. .com as well if you want to become a more eloquent communicator, regardless that you have a book or not. But if you do have a book, to Devin's sentiment, this is the next proper step. And don't miss that opportunity, because I'd rather be ready for an opportunity and not have it than have an opportunity and not be ready for it, because you have one chance at that moment and you don't want to miss it. Because you have the book, that's great, but we have to prepare you to be able to leverage that. So that's the best way to connect with me, Christopher Dedeyan, on all social platforms. Devin, I'm sure you're going to put it in the links and show notes so they'll be able to connect with me. Just DM me so me and my team can see it. Say, hey, I saw you from Devin's community, or from the $1 Million Author, whatever the case is. So then we know where we connected from, and then we'll see if there's a potential collaboration.
Awesome. Brother, I appreciate your time, your energy, your golden nuggets, so much wisdom. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck on your upcoming trip, move, travels, and all the amazing fun stuff you're doing.
Thank you, brother. I truly appreciate it. And thank you to your community as well for being here, rewatching this, and looking forward to meeting everyone.